Great story, the story of Esther. The movie, One Night with the King, definitely recommend it. Much better than me rattling on over here. It's going to be longer, but it's well done. And it's going to, again, familiarize you with the characters. You'll know what you're talking about. Stick in your mind. And again, these are actual people. These are actual historical events. These are actually verifiable through archaeology. We're talking about King Xerxes, and we're talking about the city of Susa. So this is what happened during the time of Xerxes. Xerxes, who ruled over 127 provinces stretching from India to Kush. And while he was reigning, one day he decided to go ahead and have a huge banquet. Well, during this banquet, at one point he calls his wife, Queen Vashti, to come into the banquet in front of everyone. And she's off doing stuff with the women and having her own banquet, and she says no. So the people around him, his advisors and everyone go, oh, you can't let her get away with that. If you do, then all of our wives and all the wives in the province are going to be wondering, do I need to listen to my husband? Do I need to obey him? Queen Vashti didn't. So what he did was he let Queen Vashti go, and she was no longer queen. She was deposed as queen. And his advisor said, why don't you have a beauty contest? Invite all the beautiful virgins of the kingdom to come. You pick the one you want, and she will be the new queen. There's a young Jewish woman named Hadassah, and she gets taken as one of these virgins to go through a beauty treatment program, almost like getting ready for a pageant. And so they would take, however long you said, I think like a year, where they were doing beauty treatments, spa treatments, getting them all ready to be presented to the king. Well, through a series of events, she ends up being favored by the king, and he chooses her to be his wife. So she becomes queen. Meanwhile, she has not told him that she is of Jewish origin and that her real name is Hadassah. She's been going by the name Esther. There's a man named Haman, and he is one of the royal officials. He gets promoted above the other officials, and everyone now has to bow down to him. Well, Queen Esther is raised by her uncle, and his name is Mordecai. Mordecai will not bow down to Haman. Well, Haman, a very evil man, decides that he is going to wipe out all of the Jews. The story's really good. I'm giving you just the bare essentials. Mordecai finds out about it. He tells Queen Esther, and Esther decides she's got to do something. She doesn't want to at first, and she's like, I can't go talk to the king without his permission. He has to call me. If I go to see the king and he hasn't called me, he can just kill me right then. Nobody arrives in front of the king without him calling. Mordecai says, do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arrive from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to a royal position for such a time as this. And that's critically important, because it's a message that we hear throughout the entire Bible of people being placed in things and through things for such a time as this, just like we learned about in Joseph. So Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my maids will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. That's the attitude. That's the attitude of faith in God, and that is the attitude of being a soldier for him. You go and you do what you have to do, and you trust God to take your little offering of obeying him, of doing what you think is right, and turn it into something amazing. And he can. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to go into too much more of the story. One Night with the King does a really good job again, but they don't stick 100% to the Bible, and none of these movies really do. So again, you've got to be a detective when you watch them. Go back and read the story and say, hey, that didn't happen, or oh, they forgot this part. So what ends up happening is she goes before the king. He doesn't kill her. He says, what do you want from me? Ask up to anything. And she said, I want to have dinner again. So she does it 3 times. And on the 3rd time, she finally says, that Haman, wants to kill me and all my people. And the king is enraged, and Haman falls, the king walks off for a minute because he's just going ballistic. And Haman falls onto the couch where the queen is laying, Queen Esther, falls onto her begging for his life. And the king comes in there and he's like, why are you on top of my wife? What the heck? So, more things happen. Lots more of the story. Bottom line is, Esther doesn't die. The king is on her side. God had everything timed perfectly. I can't wait for you to read it.